as long as you can get in a state of mind that is calm, relaxed, that should be the first step. The next thing I would recommend is labeling and naming what you're feeling.
Welcome to Learning from Experience, a podcast for college students and recent grads who want to hear directly from alumni on how they've adjusted their lives post-graduation, including personal stories of success, career readiness, and tips for navigating the real world. I'm your host, Megan Finnerty. Today, I'll be talking with Esteban Espinoza. He graduated in 2023 with a bachelor's degree in global studies and a minor in Asian languages, specifically Chinese. He is currently pursuing his master's degree in global security and recently finished a 10-week internship with the U.S. State Department. Esteban is a first-generation college graduate and a former Army reservist. He was born and raised in Arizona and started his college education at Glendale Community College. He ultimately transferred to ASU, where he would earn his bachelor's degree. He has had professional experiences with several foreign policy and government internships, including the Arizona government, think tanks, and nonprofit organizations. He's traveled extensively in Mexico, China, and Vietnam, and is currently in Indonesia. Thanks so much for coming on.
No, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, Megan.
Well, to start, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and your current role?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona. I grew up on the west side, so for people who are also local to the Phoenix area, they'll know which area I'm talking about. As you said, I'm a first-generation college student. I am one of 6 children. I am the only one to currently have my bachelor's degree, and hopefully soon I'll get my master's degree. And as of right now, I am in Bali, Indonesia, studying Bahasa Indonesia through ASU's Critical Language Institute program. It's a great time over here. The weather is a lot better than Arizona. I can tell you that. And I'm having fun learning a new language and culture.
Well, when you first started at ASU, did you expect to be where you are now?
Absolutely not. I remember during my undergrad years telling my friends, "Oh, I would never pursue a master's degree. I don't think it's useful." And here I am now, a master's degree student in ASU's Global Security program. But I'm really happy I did end up in my master's program. I love the case studies we have. I love the work we do, and it's also given me more opportunities to pursue fellowships, internships, and even travel opportunities that I wouldn't have otherwise as an undergrad.
What has been the most surprising thing you learned about yourself and your career interests as you've navigated these different experiences?
I think all the experiences I've had, it's interesting to see how it all goes back to public service. When I first joined the military, it was more so on a chance to earn some money while I can do my education. But it was really being part of a large organization, joining a large history, that made me realize, I enjoy serving. I enjoy being part of a team that serves a mission. And even after leaving the military, working with the Arizona government for the people of Arizona has been very satisfying. Being at think tanks in DC has really opened my eyes to how policy and the private sector go hand in hand with government and the public sector. And after my internship at State, it's kind of enshrined, my desire to work in government, specifically in the foreign policy side. I mean, even right now, part of the reason why I decided to do my study abroad program in Indonesia is because my specific bureau at the State Department was in the East Asia Pacific region. So being here is more so to prove that, okay, I can live in this environment for a period of time, and I have the ability to learn more than just one Asian language. So really it comes down to public service, and public service hopefully will lead me back to Asia and back to the U.S. State Department.
It sounds like you've done so much in a short amount of time, but was there ever a time when you realized that you kind of needed to take a break, and how did you navigate that?
Yeah, so it was actually my last semester before graduating from ASU in May of 2023. So this was probably November of 2022 when I started feeling burnt out, overworked, and feeling like I had more commitments than I was able to appropriately fulfill.
How did you overcome that feeling of burnout? What happened?
So what ended up happening is I was part of a dance group at ASU West while attending Chinese language courses at ASU Tempe. I was also a Chinese language flagship student, which comes with the commitment of at least, if I remember right, 4 additional hours of extra Chinese tutoring on top of what I already have to do for class. As well as at the time, I was also still a double major. So it was just a lot. I mean, I was feeling agitated. I became more upset easily. I started dreading waking up and having to go to class, and I knew it wasn't good. So that's kind of when I started to take inventory. So the first thing I did was take a step back, evaluate, what am I doing right now with my life? What do I need to change, and what I can do next semester to do that. And that's kind of when I came to the conclusion that I was no longer happy doing a double major. My first major was a BA in Global Studies, and my second major was a BA in Asian Languages with the focus in Chinese. So I decided that it was probably time to cut Chinese as my second major and just settle for a minor. The second thing I did was I started to realize I was doing activities, or I was committing more time to activities that were not aligned with what my goals and ambitions were. And that was mainly the dance group at ASU West. Some of those members were my good friends. And so it's really hard to tell your friends no. But thankfully, they were more than understanding of that. And they were also understanding of why I had to leave the dance group to pursue my professional goals and professional ambitions. And that's how you know you have some good friends, is they're more than willing to understand why you make the decisions you make. And lastly, aside from making cuts where I needed to, I started thinking more strategically about how I wanted my future to look like. So I knew I wanted to graduate sooner, but I also wanted to continue my education because I knew that even though most government organizations require a minimum of a bachelor's degree, I know that would not be enough to make me stand out to potential employers. So that's kind of when I decided to pursue a master's program. I landed on global security. So it all goes back to, because I felt burnt out, because I wasn't doing things aligned with my ambitions, and it was making me feel unhappy. Because I know after, being in the military and also having several internships, I noticed that I get burnt out, or at least unsatisfied, when I spend too much time doing something I don't really enjoy, and it feels more like an obligation than a passion for me. When I worked at think tanks, I was more than happy to work more than my schedule, 20 hours, and sometimes even 40 hours plus, because I believed in the work and because I knew that the work I was doing was very meaningful and impactful. And so when I finally wasn't put in those positions and I was doing activities that no longer aligned with that, that's kind of when I started feeling obligated to do them, and it stopped being fun and it started being a chore, and that these feelings of resentment started building up, and that's kind of when I had to finally make a change, and I did. And I like to say that I'm definitely in a better place now than I was before I graduated.
It sounds like a symptom of burnout is what you mentioned, of that unhappiness, kind of realizing that things are becoming a chore, but it also gave you an opportunity to really take a look at what you wanted strategically for your future. What advice would you give to students today if there was a couple practical things that they could do to get out of burnout or to navigate being in burnout?
So the first thing I would recommend to students or alumni who are feeling burnt out is, take a step back and try to breathe. I think you need to be in a clear state of mind before you can decide what to do next. For some people, that's doing breathing exercises for a few minutes. For me, it's actually doing like a sensory reset. I don't know if you've ever heard this, but what I typically do for my sensory reset is I lay down for 10 to 15 minutes and try to close my eyes, not to take a nap, but more so to kind of let my eyes rest, let my ears hear the natural sounds nearby, and just kind of reset. And after the timer goes off, I get back up, and there's this like short rejuvenation that I feel. For some people, it can be a walk, just to clear their head. But as long as you can get in a state of mind that is calm, relaxed, that should be the first step. The next thing I would recommend is labeling and naming what you're feeling, because how are you supposed to resolve an issue you have or even identify that you are burnt out if you can't even name it or know where the source of burnout is coming from? And so what I personally do is I like to write. I try to be very free about how I'm writing it. I'm not submitting this as an assignment to anybody. It's more so I'm jotting down, okay, I'm feeling burnt out. Why do I feel burnt out? Because I feel X, Y, Z. And maybe looking it on a piece of paper helps me identify, okay, so this is what I'm feeling and why. And from there, I think that's when students can start to really think, okay, what can I do next after jotting it down on a piece of paper? And, that's kind of when you should start thinking strategically about what to do next. Now that you're in a good state of mind, and in that state of mind, you were able to identify your problems, issues, or where you need to make changes in your life.
Just our last question for you today is, what is one thing that you would wish that you had done differently during your undergraduate studies?
Honestly, the one thing I wish I had done differently as an undergrad student is take more risks and stay up a little longer just to fill out those study abroad applications. But, making up for lost time now as a graduate student, I am traveling abroad, and hopefully after Indonesia, I will be in Taiwan studying Chinese. So that's the goal after this.
That sounds really exciting. Well, congratulations on all you've accomplished so far and what you're going to do in the future. If anybody is listening today and you liked learning about Esteban's experience, you can connect with him over email. And as he's abroad, he has a special email for you. So I'll spell it out for you. It's going to be estesp.abroad@gmail.com.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm really happy to be here, and go ASU, forks up.
To hear more alumni advice, head to our episode page wherever you listen to podcasts, on the college's YouTube channel, or visit thecollege.asu.edu/LFE podcast. See you next time.